Hello from Bali. I can't believe it. Just 1 week left and then we're heading back. I think Monica and I are both fairly happy to be going back, not specifically because we want to leave Bali, but just there's so much exciting stuff to get back to in the UK and summer in Europe in general. Cannot wait. I think you can see just behind me, we've both been quite creative over the past probably month or so. Monica spent the best part of the past 3 weeks getting her print business up and running, and I'll flip the camera and show you a few of the prototype prints in a second. I've of course got the Tuesday at Dobbs weekly motorcycle chat YouTube channel, so go and check that out as well. Before we head off on what is a point from a tip-off, I hope this is true. I've had a look on Google just to have a look at pics. A classic Triumph custom garage. So a huge amount of 1960s, 70s Triumphs. This is purely going off an Instagram tip-off. I can't 100% figure out if it's somewhere that we're allowed to go in and show, but it's too interesting a case to not go to. So it's 40 minutes away. We'll head off there afterwards. I will now show you a few of Monica's prints just before we head off. Monica's been experimenting a lot with different levels of paper quality. So she's gone for every print on the highest level of paper quality that she can get. She's been speaking to suppliers and printers around the world, so it will minimize the carbon footprint. It will also mean that you don't have to pay shipping taxes wherever possible. And of course, postage will be kept to a minimum, but everything's done on the highest quality museum grade printers and also paper. This is Sicily from a Moto Guzzi garage. You've got Tenerife here, Tuscany, love this one, Marshalls at the Goodwood Festival of Speed, a Caterham on a very wet Suffolk afternoon, Cuba, Tabernas Desert, Spain, Wales, Bali, and I love this one. That's Cuba from about 7 years ago. So please don't go and check it out. It's thevillain.com. All of the details in the written description. And there's also an Instagram page as well. So please do go and check it out. They're all high quality, fine art prints. So go and take a look if you're interested. Off to pick up Monica, and then we've got the 40-minute ride to Moonstone Garage, which I think is around about the outskirts of Bali's capital, Denpasar. We're up until 3 AM this morning getting all of the prints ready for the first batch of orders that have come in. So thank you so much everyone for visiting the site. So far, I think it's the Moto Guzzi print that's been the most popular. Closed. And I can tell this is it because I can see a very heavily modified Harley and a custom Triumph.
We'll have to come back another
We'll have to
time.
come, yeah, we'll have to see if we've got time to come back another time. Oh, that's a shame. Let me just give you a little peek over. That is, I think, a custom Harley there under the rain cover, and just to the side, behind those statues, there's a custom Triumph as well. It's such a nice spot. Also an old pickup or 4x4 there with the old statues. Oh, it's such a shame. But that would be Moonstone Garage, and I think usually when they're open, they'd have all of the Triumphs lined outside there. Such a shame that it's closed. I don't know why. Google says it's open, but no luck today. I can hear the drilling as well. There's some work going on. Coincidentally, we did get a tip-off from Lawrence, thank you Lawrence, who's in our development, and he went past an old car garage with loads of old, I think 1930s and 40s American cars. Back the way we came, halfway between here and home, so let's go there instead. It looks brilliant, but I wanted to see the Triumphs, and I don't think we're going to have enough time now. I really don't, with a week left.
We'll come back.
Yeah, I hope so. Okay, let's go to... Well, let's find it on Google actually and head off to the other spot. Lovely place though, just on the outskirts of Denpasar. Got a really nice, chilled out, quiet vibe. You saw the two VWs we passed, seen a lot of bike garages in general. Really nice spot. Made it. Reborn Vintage Cars Bali. This is one man from Jakarta's private collection of cars. It's a passion project he started in 1996, although this as a company just opened 3 years ago during COVID, and every single one of his 200 car collection that he's personally hand-picked from around the world, so Australia, Europe and the US, all of them are housed inside here. Right, here we go. Reborn Vintage Cars Bali. We bought our tickets from reception desk here, and this is the entrance. And I initially thought this was it. Everything you see here was the museum, but completely wrong. There's so much around the back. I think these are tuk-tuks from Thailand. You've got a 1981 Land Rover Series 3 there. This is the owner himself, the man who's collected all of these vehicles. I think he's round the back having a coffee as we speak. These look like, I don't know what these are, old wheel arches or just bits of artwork with some suitcases. And it begins with colossal, I think, American cars on the left and right at the beginning. I mean, just take your pick. There are so many of them. It looks like it's a time warp scene from Cuba or something like that, with loads of old artwork on the back. Just behind, you can see that really aged vintage artwork that covers the entire wall. We've got Chevrolets, we've got Chryslers, we've got, I think, saw some Buicks, Dodges. Just goes on and on and on. And all of this, let me see if I can zoom in here. All of the artwork on the back. Apologies for the picture quality there. Right, carrying on through, you've got some Mercedes 1973, 81, 64 Merc as well. That looks a bit like a government car with the two aerials on the front. 1928 Vauxhall. I love this, that's a beautiful one. 1960s Merc W20. And then you come outside into a kind of landscaped area with a restaurant just in front of us there that we'll stop at. Some more American stuff over there, but first of all, we'll go over here to see a bit of the European stuff and a few military vehicles. 1945 Willys Jeep. Wow. Right at the end of World War II, this one would have been. You can see most of these vehicles are not perfect. So you can see there's patina, there's rust on it, but they all give a brilliant impression of very well used vehicles. 1943 Willys Jeep there. 60s DKW Munga, another Jeep from the US. Kaiser Jeep actually. Jeep from the US, and then we go through here to some of the European stuff. I love these old Citroens. I remember when these used to be everywhere when I was growing up at about 5, 6 years old. Beautiful 7 Series Beamer, so rare to see those. Lots of Mercedes everywhere, clearly he likes his 1980s Mercs. 92 Volvo. And all of the stuff right at the back here, the American stuff, every single car here is still running. So you can see the condition is much, much better. These are all able to fire up immediately. Put a key in them, turn it, and they will all fire up and be in perfectly usable condition. Nothing beats the old American stuff from the 50s and 60s. And the names as well, Chevrolet Bel Air. Oh. Another Chevrolet, an old taxi. Wow, and in fact, this, I didn't see this. This is just behind all the stuff that's on display. I didn't see this before. I have no idea what any of that stuff is, but that says on this little truck here, Denpasar to California. Not sure if that would make it. Another Chevrolet Bel Air. God, the American stuff is stunning. I mean, this one is immaculate. I may have said earlier, some of the stuff back over that way is rusty and not in showroom condition specifically. This stuff's very different. This is showroom condition stuff here. I think probably the American stuff is his favorite because all of the fully restored ones, American. So Chevy Bel Air, what's this, 1951 Packard 200. Buick, is this? Yes, Buick there. And then the convertible stuff here, Chevrolet Impala. Wow, I mean, look at the size of this Chevrolet. Only in the US would you be able to park something like that. Well, the gentleman who owns all of these vehicles must have been, or may well still very well be, an incredible businessman, because to be able to build up such a collection of vehicles from 1996 until now is incredible, and then bring them all over here to Bali and set them out in such a stunning setting like this. It's hugely, hugely impressive. I'll see if I can point him out, because I've heard that he's actually having a coffee now, so if I see him I won't be obvious, but I'll give some kind of signal. And back to one of the covered sections. This is the Australian stuff here, so there'll be a lot of Holdens, although my knowledge of the Holdens would be tiny. If they weren't labelled, I'd have no idea what they are, but that's a 1960 Holden FB Special next to another one. Lovely looking things. And then these are the slightly later ones from the late 60s. Beautiful, the Holdens. I never see them anywhere. So it's lovely to be able to see some of these. Then we've got a bit of British stuff. 1963 Morris Smoke. Again, these are completely restored, immaculate, including the interior. That's show condition. Lovely old 67 Mini, 89 Mini. In fact, 89 Mini, and the interesting thing is, these are right-hand drive. I hadn't noticed where the wheel is, because in Indonesia they drive on the left-hand side, steering wheel on the right. So these will have been taken either direct from the UK or somewhere in Indonesia, right from the start of their life. That looks like a Citroen. Nope, it's a Fiat. Beautiful two-tone Fiat there from 48. And we've got a few, not many, but a few motorbikes. This one was picked up, I was told, in Germany with a trailer on the back. Tiny motorbike selection. Another Austin Countryman, wow. Realize how tiny these old cars were. Again, that's in good condition, just apart from the rear seats, but a 56 to 68 Austin, England, A35. These must have been picked up from England, because I don't know if they would have had these in Indonesia all the way back in the 50s and 60s. This from 76, Honda Civic and Ford F350 with something you see all the time in Indonesia. 1980 Toyota Land Cruiser. I love the names of the old Austins. Austin A40 Somerset with a Jag XJ6. Stunning with the red interior. Excuse me. Apologies if stuff gets lost in translation with my description here, but to the best of my knowledge, after chatting to the staff, and they are very knowledgeable here, almost any car that I'm walking past, if I've got a question about it, they know the answer to it. And a lot of the American vehicles have the steering wheel on the right-hand side, which is of course the opposite side to the US. So I was asking the lady about it, and she said that the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority of American cars here actually come from Indonesia itself. I just can't imagine in Indonesia, let's say in the 1950s and 60s, these gigantic cars, because the roads in Indonesia and Bali right now are so microscopically small. You usually can't fit even the smallest car going head to head. So the thought of a gigantic American truck going along the roads of Indonesia, I almost can't get my head around it, but I'll show you a few of them, because apparently they are genuine Indonesian cars from the 50s and 60s. There's also one heavily modified Willys Jeep used for the Indonesian army. So I'll go and show you those, and then I think that's it. You've seen the entire collection. The oldest vehicle, I can't believe I almost forgot this, in the entire collection is an American vehicle, steering wheel on the right-hand side, 1917 Ford Model T. It's fascinating though, steering wheel on the right. I guess that means it's an Indonesian car. Amazing. Right next to a Chevrolet. Okay, let me show you the last few vehicles out here. I love that. Palm trees growing everywhere. This is an old Indonesian, properly Indonesian form of public transport. So this is an old bus from 1948. And have a look inside this. This is how everyone in Indonesia would have been getting around about 70 years ago. Wooden seats, all numbered, with wooden flooring. Tiny little seats, and just a bare metal exposed roof. I'll try and get round the front and show you a bit inside as well. And even wooden wooden door inners as well, and a tiny little fan up at the top with a radio and a little first aid kit right there. Okay, the final bit, heavily modified G-Wagon. What's that, Studebaker? 1951 Studebaker Commander. Wow, looks like a missile. Into the final bit, predominantly American stuff. Just a couple of bits I really want to show you here. One of them, and I've been confirmed as to what this is. This is a heavily modified Willys Jeep for the Indonesian army, turned into this machine that looks like it's from Mad Max. And again, I've been told this is a picture on the front of it of the former Indonesian president. I'm so sorry if I've got that wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, that's what that is. And you can see all of the, I don't know if these will be army personnel signatures or, in fact, probably not army personnel, because there are some random things on there about COVID, etc., etc. But that's an old Indonesian army vehicle. Then the American stuff just goes on and on. Fiat 1100E. And here's an example. Look at this. Dodge Town Wagon, 1956. I'll have to zoom out as much as possible because it's so huge. But that's got the steering wheel again on the right-hand side. So that may well have been riding around or driving around the Indonesian roads in the 1950s. There's the left-hand side one, so that probably was straight from the US. And a little old Morris. I could go on and on and on, but there we go. A sea of beautiful American cars, a bit of European stuff. Oh, this is something that's rare. A hugely stretched Toyota Land Cruiser from 1981. That looks like it's a bus almost. And right at the back, we've got a little old MG with something I've never seen and probably will never ever see again in my life. A 1960 Skoda Felicia. That must be ludicrously rare. Could well be one of the rarest cars here. I didn't even know that existed. And then a Fiat Topolino and Honda Life. Honda Life. I was told that this is the owner's car. She said his Honda Life is tucked away in the corner, but I can't believe I've actually come across it. This is the owner of the entire collection's first ever car. Wow. Look at the wheel size on that. And this is where it all started for him. Fantastic. Just shows everything here all started with this, his first ever little car. Brilliant. Lovely condition inside. Right, we'll end it there. I could spend all day wandering around this place. I really hope you found it interesting. Thank you so much everyone for coming along. See you all in the next one.